morning, yogis. Thank you so much for coming to spend a little bit of time on your mat today. My name is Jesse, and today's class is going to be one of my favorite classes to take personally, and one of my favorite classes to teach at home, also in a studio when I get the chance. But today we're going to focus in on a wall yin class. So we're going to utilize the wall space to really help us out with this practice today. And if you needed just a couple of pointers to help you out with regards to how we're going to practice yin, as I had stated in one of the previous videos, yoga is about self-realization, yoga is about breathing, yoga is about being in your body and just getting out of your busy mind for a little bit. And yin yoga is going to be a practice where we really tap into some of the deeper connective tissue, the ligaments, the tendons, and even the bones. And we do that by moving our bodies into these positions that we can hold for longer periods of time, anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. And then, as you can see here, we use as many props to help us get comfortable so that we can really relax the superficial muscles in the body and then get deep into the connective tissue. So without further ado, the only thing that you're going to need for today's class is going to be your mat, possibly some throw pillows from your couch, maybe a couple of blocks, and if you don't have any pillows or a bolster, you can use maybe a pillow from your bed, maybe a couple of rolled up beach towels, anything that's going to help you to get a little bit comfortable as we go through the practice. So if you need a moment to grab those couple of items, go ahead and just hit pause on the video, and then you can come back whenever you're ready to get started. And so whenever you're ready to get started, we're going to start today in a comfortable seat, and just take a moment to get centered and get grounded before we move into the physical practice. So whenever you're ready, find any comfortable shape, any comfortable seat. You can grab your blocks and sit cross-legged, or you can sit on the knees just like this. But whenever you're ready, go ahead and please lower or close your eyes. And as you start to settle into your body here, I want you to just begin to tune into your breathing. So see if you can focus really close in on your inhale and on your exhale. And on your next inhale, I want you to breathe deeply into your belly, into your ribs, and then all the way up to your chest. And then as you exhale, breathe out from the chest, down through the ribs, and down through your belly. Inhale, belly expands, ribs expand, chest and heart lifts. Taking the in breath all the way up to the top. And then just reversing the action from the chest all the way down to the belly. And I want you to continue breathing in that way, belly, ribs, chest on the inhale, and then reversing the action on the exhalation. And I want you to imagine that your torso is like a glass that you could put water in. And on the in-breath, I want you to just imagine filling all the way up to the top. And then on the exhale, just focusing on the glass emptying. So as you sit here comfortably with a nice tall spine, just notice that with every breath that you take in and every breath that you let out, filling the glass and emptying the glass, that you can lengthen the spine just a little bit more. spine nice and long and the body very still. Maybe you can begin to notice that the heart begins to open. The shoulders gently begin to draw back, and as the heart begins to open and the body begins to soften, the mind can start to listen a little bit more intently. And every breath that you take in and every breath that you let out, filling the glass and emptying the glass, you notice that the concentration and the stillness in the body just allows you to drop in a little bit closer into your experience that you're having right now in this moment. Just allowing yourself to be placed right in the middle of your experience without an ounce of extra effort. Just know that as we practice today, any extra effort is going to be experienced as physical tension in the body and also agitation of the mind. So we're going to continue to use the breath throughout the practice today to just allow us to dissipate some of that tension in the body and tension in the mind. And if there's any other personal intention that you'd like to set for your class today, for your practice today, please feel free to do so. Maybe you'd like to dedicate your practice today to somebody that keeps you calm and keeps you grounded and helps to keep you present. Take a deep breath in through the nose and then a long, slow exhale out. We're going to go ahead and begin to make our way into our first posture. This is a really great posture just to tap into the back and also into the hamstrings. So situate yourself so that you can get close enough to the wall so that the soles of your feet are just gently pressing into the wall. And the wall is just going to be really beneficial for your practice today to help take away any extra tension that you might normally experience without having a wall or any props for your practice. So if you'd like, you can take your bolster and place it just over the thighs. And as you guide your way into the pose, if you'll remember from the last class that we really try to guide ourselves into the postures through sensation, not necessarily alignment or what we think that the pose should look like. So take a deep breath in through the nose. Put a gentle bend into the knees and then just gently begin to reach your hands down towards your ankles. And again, if you're not having a lot of flexion in the body where you're able to fold, this is where the bolster is going to come in really handy. You might even place a block directly on top of the bolster. And then I want you to just find any comfortable shape here, just hinging and folding forward where you can rest your forehead on top of the block. So if no bolster, and you still need a block maybe in between your legs or you need to stack your hands, I do want you to please get the forehead supported so that you can relax into the caterpillar posture. And we're just going to stay here for a few minutes. So please don't worry about the amount of time that you feel like we've been in the poses. I'll be taking care of the time for you so you don't have to worry about that at all. And then I want you to please just return right back to the breathing that we were working on while we were getting centered and grounded. So breathing deeply in through the belly, through the ribs, and through the chest, filling the glass all the way up on the in-breath. And then slowly exhaling from the chest, down through the ribs, down through the belly, emptying the glass. placing yourself right in the middle of your experience without an ounce of extra effort. And maybe you have heard the saying in yoga that yoga is not a workout, yoga is a work in, and this is especially true for the yin practice because we really just allow ourselves to come into the alignment without strict alignment, and then we just patiently wait through these postures. And so when we're not so focused in on what the shape looks like, but the sensation that we're feeling, we can really allow this to be an inward meditative experience. And so right now we're tapping into the myofascial back line of the body, which runs all the way up from the soles of the feet, up the back of the legs, all the way up through the glutes, the low back, the middle back, the upper back, and even the neck up to the top of the head. This class today is mainly going to be focused in and around the hip area, but you might also take some benefit away from the low back, the middle back, down around the knees and even the ankles. So as we work around the major hip joint, when we're releasing some of the physical tension that we're holding there, you might really benefit because of the connective tissue that runs just along that myofascial back line that I spoke about. Now, typically in a yin yoga class, between the postures, we would take a rebound. Once we get close to doing the practice on the wall, we're not going to really be coming out of the poses as often. So go ahead and take a deep breath in through your nose. And then as you exhale, just go ahead and lie down completely flat on your back. You can place a block underneath your neck. You can even bend your knees if that feels comfortable. You can just remain here and just allow the connective tissue to resettle and to resituate. Maybe you notice a disbursement of some tingling, warm sensation, some fresh oxygenated blood moving through all aspects of the body as you come out of the pose. And with your eyes lowered or closed, just continue to allow yourself to soften in the body, maintaining presence with your inhale and your exhale, filling all the way up from the top, and then on the exhale, emptying all the way out down to the bottom. Just allow yourself to soften through the breath as well. If you placed a block underneath the back of the neck, remove that. Go ahead and stretch your arms out, fingertip to toe tap. Reach out really nice and long. Stretch all the way out like you're just waking up for the first time today. And then open your mouth, exhale, sigh out, let it go. And we're just going to gently make our way up back to a comfortable seat. You can go ahead and turn your feet out to the right so that we can get really close to the wall. And once you get really close to the wall, we're just going to drop down to the right side and then take both feet up the wall. Now, I like to get as close as possible to the wall, at least for this first posture. In the Yang practice, this is known as legs up the wall or Viparita Karani. I don't think it really has a yin name, but this pose is just going to be really good to help us to really just make that connection to this practice, this wall practice, and kind of where we're going to go from here. This is just our starting point. So go ahead and lower or close your eyes. And then just focus right back in on breathing slowly and deeply in and out through the nose. And the visualization for imagining the torso as a glass, then filling all the way up on the inhale and emptying all the way on the exhale was a class that was inspired to me by Rolf Gates, and he talked about in this class wise effort. And it's something that I've carried around with me since the class that I took with him, which was several years ago. And the purpose of understanding wise effort is just knowing that there's a stillness and a spaciousness that can be created in the body and also through the mind with these physical postures and also with the breath. And so with the yin practice being a very inward, very meditative practice, I really like to focus in on how to be wise, to practice wise effort. So if we can tap into that stillness and that spaciousness, there's a learning that's going to be available because we quiet the body, we quiet the mind, and with the eyes being closed and not having a lot of distractions through the rest of the senses, we can start to see some other things opening up. And then as you continue to breathe in and out deeply through the nose, each time you're just kind of arriving and settling. And so with the visualization of the glass as the torso, you can sort of imagine tension in the body and tension as the mind, as some sand being put into the glass of water. And so every time that you arrive and settle, it's basically just allowing all that sand to settle in your glass so that it can become really crystal clear. We're going to put a bend into the left knee and then just simply cross the right ankle over the left knee. Now you might start with the left foot a little bit higher up the wall, and then as you slowly begin to slide the left leg down the wall, you're going to notice that the sensation that we're looking for, the edge that we're looking for in the yin class, is going to start to creep in on the right side. So if you need to add a little bit more sensation to get a little bit closer to your edge, you can just simply work the right ankle maybe a little bit further down the thigh, the foot, left foot a little further down the wall, and if you need a little bit less, just the opposite of that. So you really get to guide yourself into the sensation that you're looking for. If you notice that there's a lot of space in between the glute and the pillow or the glute and the mat, just simply grab a block in the right hand and then just place it underneath the right butt. Once you've got your shape in place, just close the eyes and settle into the pose. Every breath that you take in, every breath that you let out is just allowing you to continue to arrive and to settle. So whatever your typical distractions are, whether they're physical sensations in your body or agitations or distractions of the mind, fluctuations of the mind, you can really use the breathing, the concentrated focus of breathing in through the belly, through the ribs, and through the chest. And then exhaling, emptying all the way out. And just again, continuing to drop right into the center of your experience without an ounce of extra effort. Maybe you start to notice that the body begins to open up or settle a little bit more into the pose as we go through these long held yin postures. We're pulling up a lot of the energy and the blood in and around the joint area that we're targeting. So right now you're probably feeling a lot of sensation pulling up in and around the right glute or the right hip. We'll take a deep breath in through the nose. And a long, slow breath out. Feel free to open your mouth and just sigh it out and let it go if that feels good. Slowly begin to slide the left leg up the wall for just a moment. And then release the right foot back to the wall. Both legs can go back up the wall if that feels good. Just notice the release that you feel in the body, possibly the release in the mind as you come out of the pose. Just remember that how you look in these poses is going to be irrelevant. How you feel is going to be the key. That's going to be the best way to practice yin yoga, is just to continue to guide yourself through sensation. Go ahead and point the toes towards the ceiling. Roll out the ankles. Feel free to roll out your wrists. And then we're just going to go ahead and move into the second side. So this time, right foot comes down the wall. Sole of the right foot is just pressing into the wall. Left ankle comes over the right thigh, and we're just moving into that second side. Remember that we're set up as asymmetrical human beings, so no pose is gonna look the same or really even feel the same on both sides. We tend to hold a little bit more tension in one side or the other in the body. For me, that's my left side. And so you may not have the same looking shape. You might have more sensation or less sensation, and there's no right or wrong as to what it is. Remember that you can use your block to place it under the sitting bone on the left side or the right glute. It's going to be a little bit more towards the low back glute side than the sit bone. One hand to the heart, one hand to the belly, and then just settle into your body. Try to get really still. Make sure that your eyes are just looking directly forward of the space behind where the eyes are closed. The jaw softens. all of the facial features soften. And come back to breathing in and out deeply through the nose. It's really nice having the wall here for this pose, because with the sole of the right foot just connected to the wall, there's just no extra tension that can be experienced. On the right side, you might possibly be holding some tension in the ankles, so feel free to roll out the ankle a little bit and then just relax, get completely loose and relaxed through the left leg. All of the energy and the tension should be focused in and around the big hip, the glute, the IT band. And just know that when we're working the deeper connective tissue, this can be beneficial for pain that you may be experiencing in your ankle or your calves, your hips or your glutes, even your hamstrings. Just like I had said in the last video, the more that you do this yin practice, the more attuned you get into how to be in your body, what you want from your practice. And so even though we're only holding these poses for a few minutes, 3 to 5 minutes at a time, the more you start to tune into your practice, you can do these postures, these simple practices at home with longer periods of time if that's what your body's calling for. Really slowly just begin to release the right leg slowly up the wall, left leg slowly up the wall. And if you'd like, you can press the soles of both feet into the wall and then lift your hips up and away from the wall, coming into a little bit of a shoulder stand here. If that's too much on the physical body, just back off and rest with both legs up the wall. Might feel good to take the left knee in towards the chest, and then the right knee into the chest. Any other movement that feels really good for you right here. We've been holding these poses close to 15 minutes now, so it might feel good just to move a little bit. And then go ahead and wiggle yourself really close to the wall. So close that you can feel your butt touching the wall. And then with both legs up the wall, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. And then very slowly just begin to allow the feet to slide down the wall. And as you allow the feet to begin to slide down the wall with the soles of the feet pressing together, you're going to notice that the sensation or the target area is going to stay in and around the hip. Maybe it just moves into the inner thigh. One hand to the heart, one hand to the belly, and then I'm gonna use some space. I'm gonna give you some space in this pose just to breathe and to be. And just remember that if you feel any extra tension in the body, just back off a little bit. If you feel any extra tension in the mind, just use your visualization as the glass with sand in it, but the ability to use your breathing slowly in and out through the belly, through the ribs, and through the chest to just allow that sand to settle so that you can find your own stillness and spaciousness. And just a few more breaths here. It's also good to remember that as we hold physical tension in the body, it can feel really good to release that tension just with an audible sigh out. If you'd like to try, join with me. Take a full deep breath in. Open your mouth, exhale, press out all the air with an audible sigh. Really good. Again, deep breath in. Sigh it out, let it go. Good. From here, we're just going to take the sole of the right foot and press it into the wall, and then the sole of the left foot into the wall. So as we move into this wall frog, you can turn the toes out a little bit more and make any adjustments that you need here. So just like we did with the figure four, if you need a little less tension, you can walk the legs up the wall. If you feel like you need a little bit more sensation, you can wiggle the feet down a little bit closer to the floor. And with the knees working in towards the side bodies, this is sort of like a full Ananda Balasana or a happy baby pose, but just with the support of the wall so that we don't have to have any extra effort. And remember that that extra effort is going to be experienced as tension in the body or tension in the mind. And so yin yoga really is not about striving or reaching or gripping or trying to force our way into the pose. It's more about allowing and relaxing and softening so that we can go beyond the muscle and get deep into the connective tissue. And one might argue that the biggest target area for the yin practice is our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and our digest. It's that space and that place that we go to when we get a really good night's sleep. The body just allows itself to reset and resituate. we move away from anxiety and from stress back into our natural peaceful state. Just a couple more full breaths here. Really good, and then slowly release both legs back up the wall. Maybe you're starting to notice that as your body begins to soften and as your mind begins to soften, you can really drop into your experience on a whole new level. A level that kind of allows you to cut through some of the BS, some of the stuff that you just constantly worry about, and it can really bring some good insight and some wisdom into maybe some problems that you've been having or trying to solve, or maybe that inner voice that is just kind of always criticizing or judging. We're just gonna situate ourselves a little bit closer to the wall here. So again, try to come back so that you can feel your butt touching the wall in any way that you need to situate yourself there. And then we're just going to allow the left leg to begin to fall out to the left, and then the right leg to begin to fall out to the right. So we're going to go just basically as wide as the sensation guides us in. We're tapping into the target area of the inner thigh, the inner groin here. And I forgot to say this at the beginning of class, but I'm a really, really big fan of practicing yin yoga in socks and anything extra comfortable. So like a hoodie, socks, just anything that allows you to get really comfortable. And with this pose specifically, you'll notice that the target area or the edge may shift. So as the target area shifts and the body begins to open, you're more than welcome to just expand the left leg out to the left and the right leg out to the right a little bit more, but then try to come right back to that stillness and that spaciousness in the breath. And generally speaking, your breath is going to be the barometer for your experience. And the softer and the longer that you can breathe in and out can really strengthen the qualities of a calm practice, a calm mind, a peaceful mind, one that's not jumping from one thought to the next, one distraction to the next, one personal judgment to the next. So maybe you started this class and your mind was really busy. Your glass was filled with a lot of sand, but as we've gotten to this point in the practice, the concentration that you put into the breathing maybe has allowed you to have that sand just settle at the bottom of the glass or even be completely removed. This is a practice that I like to do sometimes in the morning, but a lot of times I'll do this practice at night. It's just a really great way to wind down after a busy day, after a stressful day or physically heavy day, lots of running or lifting weights. It's kind of like the lazy man's version of yin yoga, where you really can just set yourself up with the wall and just allow yourself to drop into your breath. Just get out of your busy mind and just get into some really good feeling. Just practicing yin yoga in the morning can really set you up for a successful day. Having just a calm stream of thoughts through the mind so that there's just not a lot of extra. Slowly, like you're moving through a big jar of honey. We're just going to bring the legs back up the wall. Now you might have this really strong sensation of fragility and vulnerability that's typical for these long held poses, and when we come out of it, that's how you know you're tapping deep into that connective tissue. So again, if it feels good here, you can just allow the soles of the feet to press into the wall. You can lift back up into that shoulder stand. Maybe take the left leg high, roll out the ankle, left leg high, opposite leg, and roll out the ankle there. Okay. And then we're just gonna allow ourselves to drop down to the right side. And we're gonna begin to move away from the wall. So you can do that as gracefully as you can. We're going to grab the bolster, and we'll start by placing the bolster on the left side of the mat. And then just go ahead and lie down completely flat on your back. Just take a moment to rest here peacefully. We've been holding these poses for a good amount of time, so it can feel really good just to take a moment just to rest. Then whenever you're ready, go ahead and hug your right knee in towards the chest. And you can find a little bit more active movement here. Now that we've been in and around the hip for quite a few postures, it can feel really good just to circle out the knee. Maybe extend the right leg out towards the right. And then we're just going to guide the right knee over to the left side of the mat, and we'll find one end of the bolster resting around the knee and the other end of the bolster resting around the ankle. And so this is just going to give you some support to go into this twist. And you can use the left hand on top of the right thigh as simply an anchor. You might need to bring a block underneath the left elbow, again, just so that you remove any of that extra effort or that space, that tension that might be created by just having the left hand hanging out in space. And then if you'd like, you can just release the right hand out to the right. You can keep your gaze over the left shoulder or take your gaze out over the right shoulder, and then just settle right back in. Settle right back into the middle of your experience without an ounce of extra effort. In the practice of yoga, the breath can really become the anchor that keeps you grounded and brings you right back whenever the physical sensation begins to be too much, or the agitation of the mind or the distractions of the mind become too much. That anchor can simply be the remembering to breathe deeply in and out through the nose. Try not to hold any extra tension in the left leg, so if you need to resituate the body in any way, all the focus should be on the right side. Slowly begin to release out of the right side. Extend your left leg out nice and long. And again, if you want to use the wall here with the left leg just for a little support, we're just going to hang out for a minute with the right knee, finding a little bit of movement with the right leg, straightening the leg, maybe extending the sole of the foot towards the ceiling, just to kind of feel some openness and some new movement through the right side. And then we'll just simply make our way towards the second side. So grab your bolster, take your bolster over to the right side of your mat. Left knee hugs in this time. And then whenever you're ready, we're gonna shift over towards the right hip. And then again, visually, we're just gonna bring one end of the bolster to the left knee, and then the other end of the bolster is gonna be there to support the left ankle. And just as a reminder that these yin poses don't really require a lot of constant thought. Once you get into your edge, you can just get there and then relax and be in the pose. And without that constant thought necessary, you can really turn your attention to the subtler aspects of your experience. This is that intuitive wisdom, that wise effort. How to be in your body and also how to be in your mind. Take a deep breath in through the nose, and then a long open mouth sigh out. Let it go. Gently begin to make your way out of the twist. We're going to make our way into our final resting posture, Shavasana. If you would like, you can take the bolster and place your bolster underneath your knees. If you have a blanket close by and you want to cover yourself up for your Shavasana, you're more than welcome to do so. We're just going to take a few minutes here to relax and just to soak up all the benefits of the physical practice and the breathing. And this is one of those poses that doesn't require anything from you. So all you have to do is just be. Just try to relax. Wiggle the fingers. Roll out the ankles and the wrists, and then just allow your tongue to fall away from the roof of your mouth and your eyeballs to get really, really soft into the sockets. Take a deep breath in through the nose, pause at the top, hold the breath. And then open the mouth, exhale, side out, let it go. A little bit deeper and bigger this time. Big breath in. Open mouth, exhale. One last time. Biggest breath that you've taken all day. Open your mouth, exhale, side out, let it go. Release the control of the breath, soften the shoulder blades. Allow your spine your hips to get really soft, really relaxed. There's nothing else that you need to do. There's nowhere else that you need to be in this moment. Very slowly begin to come back from wherever you went. Be gentle and be soft as you wiggle the fingers and wiggle the toes, connecting back to the body. Slowly begin to connect back to the inhale and to the exhale. For another moment, just notice how it feels to be in your body. Notice how it feels to be in your mind. Maybe you tapped into some of that stillness and to that spaciousness, and to that intuitive wisdom that comes from wise effort. Take a deep breath in through the nose, hold at the top. Exhale, side out, let it go. Reach the arms up long overhead, stretch all the way out, fingertip to toe tip. And open the mouth, exhale, side out, let it go. Whenever you're ready, we're just going to gently begin to make our way back up to that nice comfortable seat, just like we had at the beginning of class. Whenever you get to your comfortable seat, sit up nice and tall. Relax the shoulders and come right back to that stillness in the body. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time to be in your body and breathe and practice yoga. I hope that you take away some wisdom on how to practice wise effort, how to be better in your body, how to be better in your mind. Just remember that the practice is really simple with just some discipline. Yes, yoga provides a workout, but yoga does also provide that work in. Maybe you notice that you've got some openness in the body, openness in the mind, openness in your heart. A little less stressed, a little less anxious, a little bit more prepared to take on the day. Take a deep breath in through the nose. And a long, slow breath out. Thank you guys so much. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.